Hello and welcome. I'm Rebecca Dawson. I'm delighted to be able to share with you today a very special channeled seminar that the Masters brought through to us from the field of the One a few years ago, all about the heart. It's been one of the most prominent ascension symptoms that many of us have experienced. And not only have we been feeling changes with our heart physically in recent years, we've also been experiencing it within the way we feel emotion, the way we intuit things. It's such a huge center point for our consciousness as humans. So I'm delighted to share this content with you. I hope you find it as interesting and powerful as I do. And thanks again for being here in the space with us. So this is the first time the Masters have come through and wanted to do specifically a seminar about the heart. And I had a little taster last week in a session with someone in Germany about what that might be looking like. So it certainly is something I hadn't considered before, but I hope that you find some resonance with it. I know that all of us coming together in this way, we're all co-creating this with our consciousness. It's like creating a crucible for this information to appear because we're ready to understand it. So I'm extremely grateful for all of you being here with me at this time. So if there's no questions before we begin and everyone can hear me okay, I'm going to dive right in and put my nervous energy to one side for a minute and see what happens. All right. Just get my backup recording going here because you never know what's going on with technology these days. Greetings to you, we are with you. It's wise for you to understand that the opening you're experiencing at this time is indeed an opening for the first time physiologically in hundreds of thousands of years for the human body. Such have you known the body as a contained system, a closed system. There are many that would describe the human body as a vehicle, a containment, a vessel. And yet that is not its inherent design. Its inherent design is to be an open-ended system, an open-ended system that continually recreates and redesigns itself. Indeed, that is what your DNA sequencing was originally sequenced to do. It was sequenced to continually redesign itself. There are concepts of adaptation that humans have become very familiar with that are placed within a causal and effectual experience. Therefore, the concept of adaptation for you has been a result of a reactionary experience, a reactionary process. Indeed, these are the environmental conditions, and therefore adaptation is a reactionary response within the body. The human body itself was not originally designed to respond in a dualistic fashion. It was originally designed to be the cauldron, the crucible. In other words, the open space for newness to emerge and to evolve from. This is evidential in the reproductive capacity for the human to every time they create a new life, create a new form, it is indeed different and unique to the one that has come before it. In this way, the human body is a crucible. A crucible, of course, not a closed system, but something open to reveal something new. In this way, the DNA sequencing within your body is not designed in essence to be known. It is not designed in essence to be truly understood, other than its capacity to continually bring something new to your attention. The humans on your planet, the humans within your system would look at DNA sequencing and say, if we can view it, we can understand it, we can predict it, and we can know it. However, this is the antithesis of what the DNA is actually designed to do, which is designed to continually unfold in newness. This desire for predictability will continue to echo the themes of containment and continue to echo the themes of predictability that your world has come to embody. And yet, the very center of this crucible, as you have understood it, has been the heart. The heart is the center of the crucible of the physical body. If you were to look at a crucible, it is the point that sits here. It is the point that sits in the center of the arc. The center of the arc. And this is very important when we speak about the center of the arc, because in time and space, there is this natural rhythm of propulsion, the natural rhythm of the pendulum swing. And the heart is always the center point. The heart is where everything returns to. It is indeed the place of reset, the place of reset, the place that humanity returns to, the place that consciousness returns to, the place that creation returns to, whenever there is a completion of this swing of the arc. Now, you have come to understand within your third dimensional and fourth dimensional reality that the arc has become a full swing, that the arc, this rhythm of the cosmos, completely turns in and around on itself and does this and does this and does this. And here you have the cycle. The cycle, however, is, as you understand it to be, a containment. It is not the open-ended arc of a swing. And so when you look at the containment, if a swing was to go all the way around, what would the focal point be? The focal point, if you were in the swing, is always the journey that you have done before, the journey that you have done before, the journey that you have done before. And so in this regard, the arc and the center point of the arc and your heart and the way in which it is behaving at this time, the way in which you are sensing it at this time, the way in which you are feeling it at this time is bringing you into a cosmic reset. It is bringing your attention back to the swing of the arc, the natural rhythm of the cosmos, and out of this continual loop of containment that you have come to understand. If we were to look at the spherical nature of reality, you would perhaps say to us, well, this containment is natural because a sphere in itself is self-contained. And yet we would say unto you that it is only the human understanding of shape and dimension that would lead you to believe that a sphere is contained. What we would suggest to you is that the basis of a sphere itself is an arc. It is the human perception of the arc, the human experience of an arc that makes it a sphere. This is a very important way for us to begin this conversation, because if you understand that it is closed perception, perception within a contained reality that allows you to experience an arc as a sphere or as a circle of experience, you begin to perhaps appreciate that this is the same way in which you would regard your physicality. That perhaps you see your physicality as a containment of experience, containment of memory that predicts and repeats experiences based on memory, based on perception, based on belief. And yet the cosmic reality of your body is that it is more like an arc. It is more like a crucible. It brings new life. It brings and births new creation. New creation cannot become its full actualization if it is in a contained experience. Indeed, nothing can come to its fullness in a contained experience. This is why we have been naturally speaking of concepts such as chickens and eggs recently, because the chicken cannot become actualized in its fullness within the containment of the egg. And so it is for your earth reality. Humanity itself cannot become actualized within a containment or indeed a contained view of reality. The closest experience you have of creation and nature for yourselves is your own physicality. And there are many philosophies and approaches to cosmic truth that has attempted to deny the body, attempted to supersede the body, to take your attention beyond it, when indeed it is the adjustment in perception of that which is closest to you that can indeed open up your experience and your potential within the cosmos. Indeed, if we were to look at your physical bodies at this time as an arc, you would begin to understand that even the electromagnetic field around you is in essence open-ended, is in essence open to more, is in essence swinging through different points of perception of reality all the time. Now, if you are swinging through different perceptions and points of reality all the time, and you are not moving in this circular notion of repetition, you become very, very present to what is beyond you. You no longer become so enraptured and hypnotized by the movement itself. You become very aware of your different perspectives within the same swing. Indeed, if you were to move from one end of a pendulum swing to the other, where would your perception be? What is the common meeting point between all the points of perception in this arc? You would find that all the points of perception merge and meet in the middle. And therefore, you begin to experience more of an open view of the cosmos. You also begin to experience more of yourself. And indeed, the view of your own arc of movement becomes very fascinating. It is very difficult for humans to actually place attention upon their own movement without the requirement of a crisis or a problem to be resolved. Humans are very, very hesitant to be fascinated with the movement of their own experience. They are only drawn to the movement of their experience if they believe that there is a correction to be made or a problem to be resolved. Indeed, when humanity is moving in this circular motion, you are more interested in the repetition and the experience of knowing, I have knowledge of this, therefore I am accomplished. I have efficiency with this, therefore I am accomplished. I know this journey, therefore I am wise. And the focus becomes more on the nature of the journey rather than the nature of the self. This period of time for humanity is a time for you to rediscover the nature of yourselves, because without understanding the true nature of your own physical operation within this dimensional construct, there is a challenge for you to be able to become actualized for all that you were designed to be. And so indeed, being in the arc of the swing at this time is a wonderful opportunity for you to become very deeply fascinated with yourselves. Not because there is a problem to resolve, but because you actually are giving yourselves permission to observe yourselves, perhaps for the first time in hundreds of thousands of years. Why is it that it is only the holy men that have permission to be so self-indulgent? That somehow there is a contract made where you have the ability to spend hours upon hours observing your own nature. Many humans would see this at this time as self-indulgent, and yet it is what can shift humanity into a completely new era of fascination for life. It is when humans become fascinated with life once again that a completely new experience is created for your earth reality. Very well, that is how we begin our conversation with you on this day. Let us proceed. In speaking of your physiology, blessed ones, Let us understand that the opening that is occurring within you is just as has been described, the opening of the circle of repetition back into the arc of consciousness. And therefore, your heart at this time not only is becoming redesigned in its functionality for how it helps you view yourselves, but it is also demanding your attention. And this demand of attention is to bring this focus back to you and away from the constructs of your society, your culture, and your reality. Indeed, if humanity cannot understand itself, it cannot understand the nature of your world. The heart has been known for many to be delicate. It is been known for many to be a question of delicacy or strength, delicacy or strength. And yet what we say to you is that when you move in this spherical way, in this circular way, there is a time where you return to yourself, there is strength, then there is delicacy, and then a return to self, and so on. The heart, in essence, is not required to be understood in such a dualistic way. Even the way it is understood physiologically is in terms of dualism. It does this and then it does that, and then it does this and then it does that. Indeed, even how you've been discovering the beat of your heart is rhythmic in two. And yet what we want to say to you is that for many of you at this time, the heart is expanding the way in which it is present with you beyond the repetition and beyond the dualistic beat that you have come to know as normal. So this is a time when your heart, in the way it is functioning, is becoming less predictable. It is becoming less binary. It is becoming less circular. Now, when we look at circulation, we look at how things move in a circular pattern around your body. All things return and begin again. Remember, the heart is designed for reset. But reset never truly occurs within a circular loop. It only truly occurs within an arc when the center point is passed through. What do you know about time? Is time circular, or is it indeed an arc of experience? This is a very important question for you because it is directly related to how the heart is behaving at this time in the human body. There are many of you at this time that are noticing it with your breathing, that the exhalation and the inhalation are perhaps uneven, that perhaps it is unpredictable, that there is no longer a sense of circularity in how oxygen or indeed blood is moving around your body. You would not be inaccurate if you were to describe a sense of disruption within the circular unconscious nature of operation within your body. We will be speaking about the placement of organs and energy centers also, but in this moment, we want to speak about what is considered to be the circulatory and respiratory system within your body. It has often been understood that the heart is the center of this circulatory system, and that perhaps it is indeed the center of the respiratory system. And yet what we would say unto you, it is the center of the swing, the center of the swing. It does not loop energy around your body and back, and this is perhaps controversial to those who believe they have a full understanding of the heart and its field. It does not circulate energy around and back. That is how it has been understood within a circular system. It instead extends energy outwards and then has an understanding of itself as a result of it. It extends energy outwards and has an understanding of itself as a result. The effect is self-reflection. The effect is an understanding and agreement of cosmic source. What happens is that the energy is expressed outwards to maintain the dimensional reality. And then there is an agreement that the heart exists. And there is an expression that it moves out into cosmic reality. And then there is a moment, I exist. The moment I exist occurs is the reset. And then the creation occurs again. Indeed, this is the part of the original blueprint for the human form. Of course, because a human was designed to create. I exist as cosmic source. The expression, the energy that emanates from here creates the reality. I am cosmic source. Here is the reality, which is an extension of cosmic source. Very important. There's the arc. There's the arc. There's the arc. Notice that this is not a loop. I exist, the reality exists so that I exist. I exist, the reality exists so that I exist. Because when it becomes circular in this way, over time, this is the time loop, suddenly all of the focus is on the reality. Where is the cosmic source? Where is the reset? It has ceased to be an open-ended creative expression, and it's become the reality is required for my survival. The reality exists beyond my existence. The reality will continue to exist after I am gone. Very important. So here we have the experience of the human body going from a crucible to a loop. And this is very important because it affects the way humans view and understand what they believe to be the electromagnetic field. Very important. Now, we have spoken about the importance of magnetics with the heart. But in order to return to the true understanding of magnetic force and magnetic energy within your reality, this understanding of perpetual loop must be disarmed. And we're using our words very deliberately. Because in order for something new to be birthed for humanity, there is a breaking of the circle that is required in order for this arc to be reinstated, so that the magnetic energy capacity can be reinstated and birthed once again. Now, there are those that may say unto us, well, magnetic energy is also a loop. We would disagree. We would disagree. We would disagree. And indeed, your scientists are going to come to understand this more in the next 20 to 30 years within your reality. They have been attempting to understand magnetic energy through understandings of circular containment rather than open-ended platforms and constructs of reality. So let us again direct your attention towards the heart and the mechanics of the heart at this time. Because there is a reinstatement of the rhythm of the arc, you'll begin to understand that your heart is not necessarily moving in a very regulated way. It may perhaps be not moving so systematically and predictably within a binary type system of circulation where there is a return and a return and a return and a return. It now becomes expression, I exist. Expression, I exist. And indeed, this is the great reset for you as you become, once again, creative, open-ended crucibles for life. What it means is that those that reproduce on the planet moving forward will be actually introducing new forms of human. New forms of human. New forms of human. Not forms that are resulting from systems of adaptability to environment, but forms that are new, genetic sequences that are new, that have nothing to do with external influence, that have nothing to do with external or scientific manipulation, but are a natural emergence when humanity moves back into the form of the crucible through this cosmic arc swing. So the heart at this time is becoming less predictable, and it's important. What happens when your heart, because many of you who are listening to this are experiencing this, what happens when your heart becomes unpredictable? Where does your attention go? Suddenly your attention is with yourself. Suddenly your attention is away from your external reality and it's here. Now, for many of you, the natural instinct from your mind is to say, well, what has caused this? What is being disrupted within this circle of loop of experience and repetition that has caused this? What in the reality has caused this? And for many of you, there is no answer. For many of you, there is no answer. You cannot find necessarily something external that has caused this. What it does is it brings your attention back to, I am cosmic source. It's a disruption of the cycle. I am cosmic source. And then what happens with you oftentimes is that there is a huge outpouring afterwards. You feel expansion afterwards. You feel this creative surge afterwards. Challenging at this time because it doesn't feel as if there's necessarily anything to apply it to. But for many of you who are in contact with us and communicating with this one, you are often reporting to us that you are feeling the disruption and then there's a release. Well, the release is the creative source energy once again moving freely within this dimensional reality. So we do want to be very clear that there is, of course, no suggestion in this conversation that you do not seek assistance nor medical treatment and so on. You will do whatever is required in that moment. But what is most important is that there is a continued awareness of self in this, because it's getting your attention. It's getting your attention. And for many of you that are having these disrupted cycles, it's actually repositioning you back to self. It's putting you back in the arc swing. And what you begin to see is that you're experiencing it in daily life now. It's difficult to have anything that's predictable. You're feeling the intensity of the ups and downs, but you're very, very focused on yourself because nothing in reality is really commanding your attention at this time. Nothing is of interest necessarily. Nothing has that sense of satisfaction with your engagement with it. Well, of course not. Those of you who are intensely dissatisfied with the nature of reality at this time and what you believe it has to offer you are actually already in this arc swing. The only fascination available to you at this time is yourself. So we say unto you, be fascinated with what's happening with your heart. Be fascinated by its lack of predictability. It doesn't mean you don't address it should you need to do so. It doesn't mean that you don't seek assistance if that is what is arising within you. What it means is that it's all very interesting. It's all very interesting and you can't avoid it because it's the closest thing to you. Now, when we look at the circulatory system within the human body, you would often see the heart as the center point. And yet what we want to say to you is that the center point within the body is indeed shifting. And there is a great conjunction that is occurring not only between galaxies at this time, but also within your body. And there is a great conjunction that is occurring. Just as there are two galaxies combining at this time, there is a galaxy within your own personal cosmos, within the crucible of your body that is also merging. And that is between the heart and the brain. Now, the heart and the brain are often seen as two separate systems. However, when two galaxies combine, they are no longer separate systems. They combine to create a new system. So while you are seeing this cosmically and galactically, you're also seeing it within your human body. Now, when you have two fields that begin to merge in this way, of course, the electricity and the magnetics are going to completely transform. And it's not only a change in direction in how energy moves in your body out of a cycle and into an open-ended field of distribution. It also changes the functionality and the role of the heart and the brain. Now, just as there is a center point within the heart, there is also a center point within the brain, and both of them are becoming highly activated at this time. Now, for those who have been sitting in meditation with us for some time, you have come to know and experience what it is to move into the center of the heart and the center of the cell within the body, for indeed they are one and the same. And those of you that have experienced it have experienced the wonder and the nature of the open space and the void. It is the same within the brain. Only the void space within the brain, although identified, has not yet had its presence declared. In order for its presence to be declared, humanity must be willing to go into the unknown, which is why we have been speaking so much about unknowing being an important part of the awakening of humanity. Just as there is a void space within the heart, there is a void space within the brain. And at this time, it is where the electromagnetic field of the brain is known to have its center point. Because just as the heart has its electromagnetic field, so too does the brain. The brain is not just electrical, it is magnetic in nature. And as humanity moves into this arc and out of this closed loop system, as these two galactic centers within the body begin to merge, the center points of the heart and the brain begin to align. And therefore, humanity now begins to experience in present time other dimensional realities, other awarenesses. And in essence, this is the opening up of the earth from a circular pattern of experience back out into the arc of the cosmos. So in order for humanity to actually experience and understand its part in cosmic law and nature, the circle must be opened. The egg must be cracked. The arc must be reinstated. This is, of course, happening for many of you within the heart and also within the brain. When the heart and the brain begin to merge and the eye of the two begin to align, there is no distinction anymore between what you feel and what you think. There is no distinction anymore between what you know and what you don't know. Hear our words. There is no distinction anymore between what you know and what you don't know. They become one and the same. In other words, when you make yourself available to be in the space of the unknown within the brain, all things become known. There is no longer a question anymore. Likewise, there is no longer an answer because all is awareness in that moment. And when there is all awareness of all cosmos, there are no questions. And indeed, there are also no answers required. So this is what many of you are feeling and experiencing at this time. That is why many of you are having moments where there is no thought. How many of you are having experiences in recent days where you find yourself staring into space? Oh, there was no thought here. Is your mind going black? No. The two galactic centers of the heart and the mind are merging. Now, just as you are experiencing the opening of the circle into the arc with the heart, and you are experiencing consequentially a sense of disruption with the heart, indeed, there is almost two hearts there. You feel that there are two hearts. You may also be feeling that there are two brains. Now, what do we mean by this? Well, as you are understanding, when there is a merging of galaxies and also within the body, there is a sense of duality collapsing into one. And for a moment, it appears that you are in two worlds. So for many of you at this time, you are experiencing almost the rhythm of two different hearts. Sometimes it feels as if there are two different heartbeats. Sometimes it feels as if your heart is outside of your body. Many of you are experiencing this at this time. Remember, when the circle is broken and the arc is opened once again, you experience yourself and you also experience the cosmos. So it can appear that there are two of everything. It is the same with the mind. How many of you are having very clear experiences of two sets of thoughts simultaneously? There is this thought, and they both sit in the same space. I have this opinion and this opinion. I have this view and this view. And it's not as if it's two different voices. It's two different perspectives of the same thing. This is the beginning of your multidimensionality. So you are experiencing everything in twos, sometimes threes. So with the heart and the brain both beginning to operate in this way, it is easy for the human to become confused. However, it is important for you to know that this is highly indicative of your capacity beginning to expand. Here we have a question. I've noticed as my heart becomes more expansive, this is linked to experiences of higher consciousness and new perspectives. Will humanity's ability to leverage magnetic energy for use, interesting term, in the physical 3D world be linked to our unconditional love. We would not say that it is a question of leveraging it. We would say that it's a question of moving into agreement with it. Because if humans can actually move into agreement with what is, there is no longer a requirement to use energy. It is only a requirement to agree with it. Very important distinction, very Atlantean terminology being used here, because humans are so conditioned to believe they must harness and use rather than move into agreement with. Would you use a current in the ocean to generate electricity, or would you move into the current to generate electricity? Interesting question for you. Unconditional love. Well, what we would say unto you about unconditional love, blessed ones, is that unconditional love has no sense of return. Would you agree? Unconditional love is like the crucible. It is an arc. It is not a closed loop where you give in order to receive. It is an openness where something is birthed and released, which is exactly what the rhythm of the heart is doing at this time. Energetically, it is releasing, and nothing necessarily is returning to it. How many of you are feeling that you have less appetite, less requirement for sleep, less requirement for energy? There's a sense of lethargy within many of you, but there's also an understanding that when required, there is appropriate energy for you to be able to engage with whatever it is that is emerging for you. That you're not having to plan and store. So unconditionality is highly indicative of an open cosmic arc of movement. When you are in unconditionality and you are in this arc, you are always looking at yourself. You must have a great regard for yourself in order to be unconditional. An understanding between electric and magnetic. Well, we have discussed this in other seminars, of course. We will be brief. Electricity requires a point of distance, it requires a point of differentiation, and it requires movement or friction in order for electricity to be charged or energy to be charged. The differentiation is important here. Electricity will always require something and another. It will always require a point of distinction or maya or distance. The magnetic energy, however, only requires singularity, only requires one or the understanding of one, and can be applied in any condition. Yet to be fully understood, of course, but the magnetic energy exists before you, after you, within you, and beyond you. While many may say that the universe is electric and life is electric in nature, we would say unto you that is from a third dimensional perspective, and it was also a view that is created from within a circular experience. When you look at motors, when you look at your understanding of generators, you see it, of course, in circulation, in a circular motion. Also with the heart. Is the heart electric or is it magnetic? There are those that would say, well, it's both. We would say it's both if you understand your cosmic self and you're applying it to a third dimensional time loop reality. But we are speaking on this day of the cosmic nature of it. A friend recently had a beautiful baby with a congenital heart defect. Could this be related to the changing energies? Well, interesting that humans use the term defect. When we look at adaptation, remember what we have been saying to you about adaptation, how it's always a response to environment, and the new humans that are being created at this time have differences within them, newness within them that is easily attributed as a response or as a problem, yet it is in essence a new design. So how we would respond to that is that what is considered to be a defect is considered, in our view, to be a difference. A difference. What you begin to understand is that the requirement for the heart to function is going to be very different. And so there are many changes that are coming within children at this time, both within the heart and the nervous systems. The nervous systems. How many of you have been experiencing and witnessing changes in the nervous systems of children in the last generation? Of course. Why? Because not only is the functionality of the heart moving out of a circular pattern into an arc, so too is the functionality of the brain and the nervous system. Here is food necessary? Well, nothing in life is necessary, blessed one. What is it that you enjoy? What is necessary? Necessary is an interesting word. Necessary for life? Necessary for repetition of the circle? If energy indeed is birthed and life is birthed through the crucible, is it not so that something new can appear every day? Is food about sustainability, or is it about creation? Something for you to consider. Here is a question. My spirit recently used the term Mother Arc and what sounded like Arcana when telling me to be aware that the new corridors are opening and we are becoming superhuman. Is that an aspect of what you are describing? Well, what we would say to you is that the arc, if you consider it, also has a sense of momentum. It has a sense of gathering speed at a certain point, and then it slows down, gathering speed and slows down. And indeed, you will begin to understand that these are the natural rhythms of the cosmos. It is within your human world that you have come to believe that an acceleration of time and an acceleration of productivity and an acceleration of an achievement and an acceleration of consciousness is both natural and also a requirement for your continued sustainability on this planet. When you begin to understand what the natural rhythm is, the superhuman becomes very apparent. What is the superhuman? The superhuman is one not only whose heart and brain centers have merged, but also ones that are in adherence with and coherence with the natural arc of the cosmos. So there are moments when you are incredibly engaged and you feel the acceleration, and there are moments when everything slows down and you pause, and there you go again into another swing. That is what we would say unto you. Ask yourself this: is the true nature of earth an arc or a circle? We're going to leave you to explore that within yourselves. Very well. So we do want to continue on with our synopsis of the heart and the brain and how they are working within the circulatory and respiratory system and the nervous system within your body. Because as they begin to merge, you begin to understand that there is a change taking place within the brain, whereby many of you are feeling that there is pressure in the skull. Many of you are feeling that there is an openness and a blank that's occurring within you. And indeed, this began with memory loss for many humans, continued on into changes in the eye structure, changes in the shape of the eye, changes in the vision capacity. Of course, as the pineal becomes more interactive with the heart and with the Echba, which is your expressive center, because remember, all things must be expressed to become part of your reality. As all of these centers begin to move in rhythm with the heart, and indeed the heart in rhythm with the brain, there is no longer a distinction between what is thought and what is felt. So those of you who are finding that you are having thought without feeling or feeling without thought, understand that this is part of the swing. Because there are those of you at this time, and we can hear you in this moment as you are speaking with us through this format, that there are many of you that feel that you are losing your sense of compassion or your feeling state. And there are other times when you are all feeling state and there's no thought, and you feel as if you are not in control. Understand that as you move along this arc, you get to experience thought, you get to experience feeling state, but whenever you meet in the middle, they converge. So this experience you are getting at this time of a complete separation between heart and mind, and then the complete convergence, is a natural part of this experience. It is this bridge between third dimensionality and multidimensionality that you call fifth dimensionality. Because fifth dimensionality, you're still aware of the 3D, but you're also aware of the multidimensionality and the unity. So you are pulsing between them. How long have we been speaking about the pulse for? Very, 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 very important, blessed ones. Now let us look at what you believe to be the closed system of the human body. Because when you believe there is a closed system of the human body, everything moves around within it in a circuit. Now, how many of you are having, as we have discussed some months ago, experiences with blood vessels not behaving the way that they used to? Some of you, it's happening in the brain. Some of you, it's happening in the heart. Some of you, it's happening in the extremities, where there are disruptions in the way in which blood vessels are behaving. They're not necessarily wanting to circulate within a loop. And so blood vessels at this time for many humans are beginning to expand. They're actually beginning to branch out. And so while it may seem that there are splits or there are tears or there are anomalies that are occurring within the blood vessels at this time, understand that it is an expansion. And it is an expansion that is necessary, because when the heart and the brain start to converge, they are requiring a greater capacity to be able to sense what is in your environment. How many of you believe that the circulatory system within your body is required to move things around for sustenance within a closed system circuit? That is the common view. Let us present an alternative view that suggests that the circulatory system is designed to work in conjunction with your nervous system, so that the very essence of your cells can actually experience newness and experience what is available and what the nervous system is sensing in every moment. It's very important, because the circulatory system and the nervous system have been seen as separate systems, but they're going to begin to work in synergy, just as the heart and the brain are. It's a very interesting time for your medical scientists. Very interesting time, because so many anomalies are appearing that will actually become part of newly understood systems. I recently feel a pressure in the organs below my heart. Is this an effect of the changing heart space? Well, Blessed One, we would say unto you that the heart, when it begins to move out of a closed system and it begins to open more into an arc, actually begins to accommodate other organs within the body. Indeed, the organs are not originally designed to be operating in an electrical way. What do we mean by this? In an electrical system, there are different points on a circuit board, and each point on the circuit board of each organ or each system within your body works interchangeably with others. There is communication transference. There is giving and receiving. Whatever is happening over here will affect what's happening over here if the channels of communication are not open, if the circuit is not intact. And so there is a codependence that occurs. If something is disruptive here, it's going to disrupt something over here. Indeed, this is what the meridian systems of the body were understood as channels of energy that link all of these organs and systems within your body so that they become interdependent. However, when the merging happens within the body, as the galactic merging happens, it no longer is a system where there is interdependence between all of these points on the circuit board, all of these channels of energy. It now becomes a case of all of these organs beginning to move in synergy with each other. So rather than this pass on something to this, where there is a time delay, it is now everything starts to work rhythmically in resonance simultaneously. What does this mean for humanity? what it means for humanity in a longitudinal fashion, what you believe to be longitudinal linear nature of time, is that humanity will arrive at a point whereby there is either life or perceived death. There is no breakdown of the system, the physical system. There is no illness or disease, because when all of the organs begin to work simultaneously in resonance, the system is either in resonance or it is not. In other words, the system either exists as your body or it does not. And indeed, this is how physicality is in operational and other dimensional systems that play in third dimensional reality. The body either exists or it does not. There is not a simultaneous breakdown or a sense of dis-ease because one point in the electrical system is disrupting the functionality of the others. In other words, it's the end of interdependence, and it's the beginning of resonance. Now, this is very important because while we are speaking about the internal system of the human body, remember that when you move into this fifth dimensional reality, the external systems must be in accordance with the internal system. In other words, there is no external system that can disrupt the internal system in this way. Everything works in resonance. Therefore, your external and cultural and economic and physical environments and systems and structures must resonate with the optimum functioning of the human body. So when society ceases to resonate, the body also ceases to resonate. This is how entire populations, this is how entire species can be there in one moment and then be gone. Of course, we admire the way humans attempt to explain the appearance of civilization and the disappearance of civilization, but in essence it's a return to resonance, where if one thing goes, it all goes. If one thing arrives, it all arrives. Such is the way in galactic systems. The Andromedans have a thing or two to teach humans about this, of course, because this is what humanity is merging into at this time. When we lay on the ground, what is happening with the body's energy? Well, again, this is a very timely question because this is what we are speaking of at this time. As you move into this arc and this open system, you begin to experience the resonance between the physical system of the human body and the system of the earth, because indeed they are designed to be one and the same. Just as we have suggested to you that the earth is not a closed system, just as the body is not a closed system, it is an arc, your body moves into resonance and knowing with that. So indeed, for many of you at this time, being with the earth, being conscious of the earth with your physicality is going to give you more of a sense of freedom than ever before, because the earth is aware of its own functionality. The earth is aware of its own truth. The earth is aware of its own nature. It is only that humanity is not aware of it, but you feel it within your body. When you are in resonance with the earth, everything opens up. Everything opens up. How easy is it to breathe when you are feeling connected to the earth? Of course, because you are not in a circular fashion. When you are engaging with the earth like that, everything opens up into the arc again. It would be an interesting experiment for you to be with the earth at this time and see if you can feel the pulse of the planet. The planet has been pulsing. It's been showing you what its natural rhythm is. What's happening with the seasons on the planet at this time? Is everything circular or is it moving like this in intensity? Watch as that speed of arc begins to increase. That's when you see the changes and the swings in intensity between physical conditions on the planet, emotional experiences within you, yes, and your mental clarity is going to keep shifting as well. So it's not a case of moving through cycles of emotion anymore, cycles of health, cycles of economic prosperity, and so on. It now becomes something that changes almost every hour. Almost every hour. And this is nigh a problem for you unless you are trying to control it into a rhythm that you believe is natural. So when we talk about the systems within the human body, let us continue with this. You understand that the periphery of your body becomes very, very important. This is what you've understood. You've understood that the most sensitive that you are is on the periphery. You sense things between yourself and an external reality. Very important point. Pay attention. Between yourself and the external reality, which is why we've been speaking about skin for so long. Why skin is important, because it's the interface. It's that sensory organ that allows you to experience what is beyond you and transmit and translate that information like this. Now, when you understand that the surface of you, the membrane of your closed system is highly sensitized, you'll realize that all of your attention has been actually beyond your physical boundary. Your skin at this time is reminding you of your physical boundary, but there is a shift that's happening and that will happen, particularly within the next 10 months on your planet. For many of you, you're already experiencing it. You've had the sensitivity of skin, you're becoming hyper aware, hyper sensitive to your environment. Those of you who are highly empathetic are understanding what it feels like in the collective weather, and so on. However, the next big shift in your attention and awareness at this time, as we have spoken with the arc, is the fascination with self. So your attention at this time is going to be less on the collective, and it's going to be more about what's happening within your crucible, what's emerging within my crucible. In other words, you're going to start to hear your heartbeat. You're going to start to feel it. When it used to be unconscious for you, you didn't really pay attention to your internal space. It's now becoming conscious. How many of you are feeling your heart beating at times where you don't believe you should? How many of you are feeling the electricity move through your brain? Some of you describe this as headaches or head tension. But what's happening is that you're actually now becoming aware of what's happening in your crucible, what's forming there, what's creating. How many of you are aware through what you believe to be food sensitivity of all the different places within your gut? Is it food sensitivity, or is it a new found conscious awareness of your physical experience? How many of you are becoming aware of how difficult it can feel to swallow? How many of you are becoming aware of pressure behind the eyes and the nose and the forehead? What is that about? Is that an allergic reaction? Is it possibly a space opening within your brain? The merging of the two galaxies. Interesting how the most common reaction for a human is, I can sense something within my body, something's wrong. I can sense something within my body, there is a problem here. Well, that may be true if you have an understanding and a perspective of your body as an interconnected, interdependent electrical system. You're only aware of that electrical system when there's a disruption. Just like when you're in your home and the electricity goes out, the power is disrupted, suddenly you're aware that you had electricity. Oh, now we don't have it. It's the same with the human body. You only are truly aware of it when you believe that there's a disruption. We would suggest that there are many experiences at this time where you're becoming aware of things within your body, and that perhaps is an invitation to become more deeply aware within the crucible of self. When you can direct your attention to the crucible of self, you can have the great joy and privilege of witnessing now what is emerging from this. When you feel disruption or discomfort, or perhaps even something that appears to be an anomaly within your human experience of your body, let us invite you to give it your full attention. What is this? What is this? What is this? Again, the question and the answer can arise simultaneously. It's an invitation, is what we would say unto you. Of course, by no means do we wish to suggest that you allow yourselves necessarily to dive into such acute disruption that there is for example, a human experience of pain, do what you will. Do whatever you are feeling is appropriate for you in that time. But what we are saying to you is to also give yourself permission to be fascinated by it. What is happening here? This is new. This is different. What is occurring in this moment? So the new heart, Blessed One, is actually the arrival of the human physicality into its true cosmic self. The new heart is not the center of the body. Let us be very clear. It cannot be, because it is no longer a point on a circuit board. We're going to be very provocative here. And we're going to say that those who have understood electromagnetic fields have perhaps put the heart at the center of your system. What we want to say is that the heart at this time is not the center of your system. But what you are feeling is you are feeling your heart in the center of your brain. And so for many of you at this time, it feels as if the brain once again is becoming the center of your body. There's pressure there. There's a tension there. There's disruption there. Understand that this is the two centers merging. So why we say that the heart is not the center of your form at this time is because you are becoming decentralized. Very important. You're becoming decentralized. Now, what happens when you're in a circular experience? There's a center point very clearly. Agree? Never changes. But when you're in an arc, your point of focus can move along that entire spectrum and you can be very present to it. It's very important. Because your center points in your body are becoming decentralized at this time, it's easy for the human to feel very unsafe. It's easy for the human to feel as if there's no boundaries. I don't know where I am. I don't feel safe. Even your physicality, for many of you, does not feel like a boundary at this time. For some of you, it's difficult to even have a sense of your physicality when you awaken in the morning. Understand that this decentralization is the opening that is required for humans to actually join their cosmic brothers and sisters once again in conscious awareness. This decentralization is designed to expand your attention away from predictability and the mechanisms of predictability and into possibility. When we say that the heart is not the center of the body at this time, it's wise for you to direct your attention to the changes that are occurring, that are bringing your attention to a new center, a center that is as yet undefinable, but the center that will be the core of the new human magnetics. It's very, very important. Now, there are those that would say to us, well, wouldn't it not be natural for the heart to be the center of the new magnetics for humanity? And we would say unto you, it would be unnatural for one specified organ to be the center point. What would be more natural in accordance with cosmic law is for all of the organs to move into resonance, so that then there is an identifiable center point that is you, the totality of you, the totality of you, the totality of you. Humans do not see themselves as whole. They see themselves as a sum of parts. Never complete. Always something yet that's missing. Always something yet to acquire, whether it be knowledge or experience. You do not see yourselves as the whole. Even within your cultures, you do not see yourselves as a whole. You see yourselves as separate parts that make up a whole. And therein is your conundrum. When you understand that you are the universe, when you understand that your heart and your brain are merging just as the two galaxies are merging at this time, you begin to understand that you actually are already complete. It is only your perception that has been contained within a time loop that has made it very difficult for you to experience the reality of yourselves. Here we have a question. I thought everything is connected with one center point in the body. Everything can merge into one center point, but it is the totality of you. Humans still like to see themselves as a sum of parts. If there is a sum of parts, there is naturally a hierarchy. There is always going to be one that's more important than the other. There's always going to be one that has more control or power or is more intelligent than the other. That is akin to saying unto us that your heart is more intelligent than your mind. Now, we have said unto you that the mind is wired and programmed in a particular way for memory. So in this regard, this dualistic vision of differentiation between heart and mind, there is one that is more intelligent than the other. There is one that you can trust and there is one that you cannot. Here we have duality. When you begin to understand the totality, when all of the organs begin to merge into one resonant experience, one resonant system of magnetic energy, you begin to understand that there is no one component that is more powerful than another. And indeed, that is what humanity has been waiting to experience. Because whatever the law is within your bodies, the law is within your reality. If you want resonance and equality and unified field of experience, unity consciousness, if you want that in humanity, you must recognize it within your own physicality. Very important. Here's a question. Thinking of someone who is having a disruption, can you describe what is happening when they come into agreement with their emotional feeling state? If we come into agreement or resonance with them about their emotional or feeling state, what is happening? Is there a difference if another comes into agreement with the one having the disruption? My understanding is the agreement can cause a shift. Well, interesting. The fact that you're trying to create a shift is very interesting, because if you're trying to create a shift, you have already identified a problem. And around we go, and around we go. Rather than only being concerned with your own view, remember what we said at the beginning of this conversation. When you're in the rhythm of the arc, you become fascinated with yourself again. If you have a friend or a loved one who you believe is experiencing disruption, our question to you is, why do you believe they are experiencing disruption? Because if you're looking at it, we would ask you to look at yourself. Are you feeling that there is disruption for them? If you feel that there is disruption for them, then you will experience that there is disruption for them. If you feel that you are completely fascinated by their experience, where is the assessment that there is a problem? Where is there an assessment that there is even a disruption? You just become completely fascinated. The question for you to ask yourself in this moment, Blessed One who has asked the question, is this: what is my experience of this in this moment? And that is all you need to agree with. Your experience of it. Bring it back to the center point. Bring it back to the fascination with self, the cosmic view. This is very important, because immediately you have placed a distinction between your own understanding of it and your friend's understanding of it. Therein you have the Maya, therein you have the illusion, therein you have the problem. Allow yourselves to be completely self-indulgent with your view. Will the magnetic energy core and system replace the electromagnetic system or power it? What we would say is that electromagnetic systems, as you understand it, are akin to humans glimpsing the nature of the cosmos, but not truly experiencing it. So humans, again, attempt to harness, understand, use, and apply energy. The recognition of this system as the functionality of life is what enables you to experience it everywhere. You see it everywhere. You feel it everywhere, and it becomes undeniable as truth. When it is undeniable as truth, it merely exists. We love the term merely. It's something that humans used in an attempt to diminish merely. Interesting. When you recognize it as inherent in all things, it merely is. It merely is. It becomes very, very simple. And when it is, there is no possibility for it to not be. And when you understand that there is no possibility for it not be, to not exist, then there is no requirement to understand it, to harness it, or to control it. It's just the way that it is, which is just the way that it is. In other words, when the heart and the mind are combined into one field of awareness, then just the thought or the feeling for something is enough to make it exist. So it's not a question of harnessing electromagnetics or magnetic energy, for example, to travel or to create energy for something or to illuminate something. Because if something is known to exist, then it is. In other words, let us give you an example. If one was here and the mind and the heart were fully merged and all of the systems within the body had become one in their totality, but were not a sum of parts, just the knowing that it is possible to move from one side of the earth arc to the other side, then that would be the reality. Now it is. It only takes a thought and a feeling in agreement in order for that to become reality. This is the nature of the crucible, the nature of the arc. If this one, for example, if all of their system was converged, there was a knowing that of what it feels like to discover a new flower at the top of a mountain, then that would be the instantaneous experience in that moment. So it's a continual birth of experience, because there is no possibility that it is not. And indeed, this is where humanity is going. When there is such a clear understanding of what is, there is no question that it could possibly not be. And it's that agreement that it is that allows it to exist in that moment, not a journey of discovery to see if it's possible. And this is why science on your planet has become so cumbersome, because there is a concept and then there is a journey of discovery, trial and error, cause and effect, experimentation to discover if it is true or not, rather than understanding it is. There is no question that it is not, and therefore it appears in reality. Very simple. So to answer your question about the magnetic core energy, it is going to be a question of humanity awakening within and knowing this is, therefore it's everywhere. Cannot be unknown. This is important. Once it's known, it cannot be unknown. Once it's seen, it cannot be unseen. This is the law of creation. It is only within your time loop, circular reality that you have understood in third dimensional earth that it is possible for things to be forgotten, that it is possible for something to be known and then unknown, that it is possible for something to be true and then not true. How fickle is truth in your world because of this dualistic possibility of something can be and then it cannot be. It can be true and not. It can be known and then unknown. Very confusing to the cosmic perspective. Fascinating, however. When the original operating system of the human was adapted, was the experience as disruptive and as cumbersome as this one? Well, we would say unto you that it was more of a restrictive sense. And so the restrictive sense that you're experiencing now is an experience of moving back into that wholeness, an experience of overcoming limitation. Remember that what is it that leads humans to seek shelter? What is it that leads humans into containment? It's fear. This is a new experience now because fear is a natural expression that's pushing you outwards. Interesting, isn't it? Fear is not really causing you to contract anymore. It's causing you to move out. So you can understand here that there is a reversal of sorts in the nature of your world. We have spoken about the great reversal. We have spoken about the pole reversals. We have spoken about the axis shift. The reversal occurs in many fields of your experience. Fear now will cause you to push outwards beyond limitation rather than seek safety within it. Very well, blessed ones, there is so much more to discover. There is so much more to discuss. But what is important for you to know at this time is that the irregular nature of rhythm within your body is perfectly in accordance with the merging of two galactic systems. It is wise for you to seek the center point in all things. It is wise for you to understand that attention that is emerging within your experience at this time is designed to get you to bring your awareness back here so that you understand that whatever is happening within you is in accordance with the movement of the cosmos, and that indeed humanity is moving back into an arc again so that it can open its awareness into its cosmic reality. It's opening to an arc again so that new things can be birthed. It's opening so that new jewels can appear within the space, new understandings, new awarenesses. Your experiences are not to be discounted as mere problems or abnormalities. They are designed to bring your attention back to self. Very, very important. And for you to acknowledge this is true. This is true in this moment. If it is true, then it cannot be false. Very important. Very important indeed. Very well, blessed ones. It is our great joy to be with you on this day. However, we have one more consideration for your awareness. Greetings to you, blessed ones. We are with you in this moment. And indeed, it is a great joy to become so aware of truth. Many would say truth is objective, truth is subjective, truth is fickle, truth is so temporary. And yet the truth that is important for you to embrace on this day is the truth of your own existence. Indeed, the truth of your own existence is all you have that is reliable. And even those of you who have had existential questions, do I even exist? Is there even a self? The existence of the physicality at this time is undeniable, and therefore it is drawing your attention to it. Why though? Why is your body drawing its attention? Because it is your reference point for this reality. Indeed, this physical experience, it is what brings your attention, your cosmic mind, your cosmic hearts into this sphere of great joy and creation. It is your anchor point, blessed ones, not in terms of gravity, no, but in terms of attention and focus. And so the more you feel your physicality at this time, the more your consciousness is here. Indeed, you are not a vessel, you are an open space of creation. Do not see yourselves as containers, see yourselves as bringers of life, so that every experience is valid, every experience is validated, every experience is acknowledged and agreed with. You are creating a new world, blessed ones. You are opening your hearts and your minds to what may emerge next, but all things enter this world through you. You are the portal into this world, so pay attention. You may not be bringing a human into this world at this time, but you are indeed bringing consciousness into it. New concepts, new ideologies, new views, new perspectives, new awarenesses, new knowledge, all flooding through you, arriving in your crucible, being offered. To whom, to what, it matters not. It is the presence of it that is important at this time. Everything has a signature. Everything has a vibrational frequency. And so even for you to feel it within your own body, within your own form, I'm feeling something, I don't know what it is. I'm thinking something, I don't know what it is. I feel something birthing within me, I don't know what it is. Just acknowledge its existence. The cosmos welcomes it. So, Blessed Ones, celebrate your earth at this time. There is a great opening, oh yes. What you see as constriction and containment is only the peak of the enclosure as it bursts open. There is nothing that you can do to alleviate the pressure, but what you can do is celebrate the opening. Peace be with you.